Europeans have always spread weeds. They didn't discover new worlds. They polluted them. They didn't arrive with innovation. They arrived with infestation, not just in thought, not just in systems, but in seeds, spores, root, and rot. They didn't bring gardens. They brought contagion and chlorophyll. And no, it wasn't an accident. It was policy. It was agricultural, white supremacy, the belief that the only valid flora were the ones they recognized. If it didn't grow in their feudal graveyards, they saw it as useless. And if they didn't recognize it, they burned it. Everywhere they went, the land got sick. North America, they brought cheatgrass, which hijacks soil, spreads wildfire, and kills native prairies. Hawaii introduced Myconia, the green cancer, which annihilates native trees and floods entire ecosystems. South Africa planted black wattle and Port Jackson acacia, now choking the rivers and draining the water table. Australia, gorse, lantana, Scotch broom. Pasture improvement, they called it. Ecological arson is what it was. They said they were taming the land, but they were spreading a botanical diaspora of collapse. Colonial botany was never neutral. The Royal Botanic Gardens, the Linnean Society, the plant hunters with their little journals and steel-toed boots. That wasn't science. That was biological imperialism. They cataloged what could be stolen, exported what could be sold, and left behind a trail of dying pollinators, displaced fungi, and sterilized dirt. Because the colonial mindset doesn't nurture, it names. It renames what it doesn't understand, and then kills what it can't control. The weeds they spread weren't just plants. No. They brought ideological weeds, too. Christianity in a monocrop, private property as a vine, race science as a fungus, borders like thorn bushes, and capitalism. Capitalism is a creeping vine that starves everything it touches until only the rootless survive. They paved over indigenous food forests and called it farmland. They replaced 10,000-year-old agroecological systems with rows of settler death crops. They introduced fencing, cutting off animal migration, plant seed dispersal, and spiritual balance in one fell swoop. Even the term weed is European. What's a weed but a plant that dares to grow without permission? European colonialism was a weed dispersal system. They packed seeds into ballast, stuffed roots into coats, released insects to fight the plants that they brought, then had to introduce more species to kill those insects. It was a cascade of collapse, an entire biospheric Jenga tower built on arrogance. And when things spiraled out of control, they didn't learn. They doubled down. They funded weed eradication programs, pouring poison into rivers, planes dumping herbicides from the sky, villages sprayed with chemicals that killed not just plants, but memory. Ask Vietnam what happened when they tried to stop the spread of resistance. Agent Orange, a defoliant for forests, and a sterilizer of generations. And still today, they call it management. Look at the suburbs. Imported grass that doesn't feed anyone. Fertilizer runoff, choking lakes. Every lawn, a little colonial war zone. Green, dead, and utterly artificial. Look at the gardens in every empire capital. Not for medicine, not for sustenance, just ornament. A mirror of their worldview. Sterile, curated, toxic, and desperate to be praised for it. But the land remembers. The soil knows what belongs, and it is not the European root system. The yams will break the pavement. The native seeds will wait 200 years to bloom. The mycelial networks beneath our feet will always whisper the truth. This was never yours. No matter how many weeds they plant, how many invasive species they spread, how many maps they redraw, the land is not fooled. You can drown a continent in settler seed, but you cannot outroot an ecosystem that knows how to heal itself. scope.